Hello all, we got an all-time great round for you here on Disc Golf Battles. 2021 World's Final Round, Paul McBeth versus James Conrad. Getting right into it. Paul McBeth leading James by 1 stroke going into the final round. Paul's drive on the short par 3 hole 1. Nice little ace run there. It's going to be pretty close to the basket. Going to skip past James' drive to his putt here, his birdie putt. From just outside the circle, misses it low, so that's going to be a starting par for James. Paul picks up the birdie, so he gains a stroke already. Paul's drive on hole 2, another ace run right off the cage. Great shot. That's going to be 2 birdies on hole 2, one for both McBeth and Conrad. We're kind of flying through the first parts here because this is a longer round. On to James's birdie putt on hole 3 after a good drive to get him in position. Hits a little tree branch, and that's going to leave him with another putt still. So he's got this left for the par. And it's not going to go. So with the bogey on hole 3, Paul gets a par on hole 3, and James is leaking strokes early, already back to a 3-shot deficit. Paul's drive on hole 4, par 4. Gonna kick off a tree. Not the best result. James's drive needs to get right. Doesn't. At least it stays in the middle. So we're gonna skip their upshots up to the putt. James thought he finally had one, but it squirts out. So now, on to hole 5. This is now after James has bogeyed 2 holes in a row. Paul's putt on hole 5. His lead is at 4 strokes now. Cashes it to save the par. Yes, sir. Look at that beauty. Well done. Jumping up to the putt on hole 6. Paul still at that 4-stroke lead. Nearly catches another one from deep. James with his birdie putt here. Yep, finally gets one to go. That'll get him a stroke back. Deficit is back to 3. After the first 6 holes, still lost 2 on the round. Onto the drive on hole 7, short par 3. James will be driving first. Yeah, that's perfect. Nicely done. People like it. Onto Paul's drive on the same hole, hole 7. Looking pretty good. Yep, he'll have to make a little putt over the log thing. Farther than I thought it was going to be. Doesn't matter. Cashes it. Fist pump. That's going to keep his lead at 3 in this World's battle. We're going to skip hole 8, which they both got lackluster pars on. Onto the drive on hole 9 for James Conrad. Long par 5, and that's boomed out there. Great shot. Paul, meanwhile, needs another second for his drive on hole 9. Snipes that tree on the right, so not a good drive. He's going roller now. This could go a many number of ways. Paul struggling on hole 9. James, meanwhile, had the great drive, so we'll see how many strokes he can get back here. Paul just keeps hitting trees all the way down the fairway on his approach, and finally gets that bogey putt in there. James, meanwhile, after that great drive, has got himself down the fairway for a nice little birdie tap, and that's a 2-stroke swing. It's It's going to be right back to 1 where it all started at after 9 holes. Onto the drive on hole 10 for James. More of a kind of a long, well, not super long, but more of an open par 4. Booms his drive out there. James is starting to feel it after that rough start, especially with the putting. Paul's drive on hole 10. Looking to get right after that tree-filled bogey on 9. Nicely done. Now they got to get it through this little triple Mando area on the way to the basket. So James will be up first. He's getting pretty good position, but hits a tree. So he's going to have a long putt for his birdie. Long putt, doesn't matter. He is feeling it now. He's got his little bouncy step on the way in. So that's going to get him a second straight birdie. Meanwhile, Paul here going to tap in his birdie. So an exciting hole 10. But still the same result. James is 1 stroke behind Paul. Going to skip hole 11 after, once again, they both collect pars. Onto the drive on hole 12 for James. Great drive. Looks like he's stuck up behind a tree a little bit there. On to Paul's drive on the par 4. Oof. Looks like he hit a tiny little tree or something. That might be tough. James also in a tough position though. And look at that Plinko right into the circle. It's going to be a birdie look for James. Meanwhile, Paul here, he's got actually kind of an open throw. Besides spanking it off the fence. Nicely done. Gonna have 2 birdie looks. Just gonna keep the score at Paul McBeth up by 1 stroke on James. On to hole 13. Skipped the drives on this short par 3. Onto the putt. James just laying it up, not risking that high basket with the old out-of-bounds river right behind it. Paul's birdie putt here. Also pretty far away. He's not laying up. Cashes it in there. Another great putt from Paul this round. Gonna extend his lead to 2 shots as well. Take another look. Oh yeah. Both James and Paul are now starting to putt pretty well as this battle is coming down the home stretch. On to hole 14. Paul's drive on the par 4. Skipping it up there. Very good. I'm sure the tension is starting to rise as these 2 great players battle it out for Worlds. James's drive here on hole 14. Low liner. Nice skip, and that's going to be a similar spot to Paul's. James' approach will be first, thrown at a giant wall of trees. And he's through. It's going to be maybe near circle edge putt for James. The deficit is at 1 currently, actually. Paul also just chucks it at a wall of trees. And he's back in the brush. Near the basket, though. He's got a nice little over putt, over a berm putt, just like he had earlier in the round. Standing in the tall grass. Bang. Another fist pump. Beautiful putt. He's feeling it today, that's for sure. Wants this world title pretty bad. Great putt. So James has this just to stay within one stroke of Paul. Rattles it in there. On to the last 4 holes. Hole 15, shorter par 3. Paul will be driving first. Got to split these trees. Bang. Another almost ace run, but checks up. It's going to be great. Paul looking at another birdie. James is going to have to match, as he is going to be running out of holes if he only pars this one. Splits the trees, but it's a little low and it does not get over that log on the ground, so James is going to have another long putt. He's been draining these lately though. Does it again. Woo! Yep, he's pumped. Stays within one stroke of Paul. As long as Paul can tap this in, which he will. Down to the last 3 holes of the 2021 Worlds battle. Paul McBeth versus James Conrad. Paul will be driving first on hole 16. Another short par 3. This one's going to be an island hole though. So he's got to stick it on the green down there. Gets his forehand to hang on. Nice shot from Paul. He's birdied 3 in a row. On to James's drive. Sends it into orbit. Yeah, but it comes down right near the basket. Great shot from James. Paul will be putting first. James hoping that this is his chance to finally get even. But Paul's going to knock it in. Great putt. Cool, calm, and collected, Paul McBeth. James puts in his short putt. Still 1 stroke back. Playing pretty good, but just can't seem to catch Paul, who's birdied 4 in a row now. On to hole 17, par 4. Paul will be driving first across the water. Made it across and ends up in a decent spot near a tree. James looking to do the same on his drive on hole 17, clear the water, get in a good spot on the other side. Chucks it. It's a cross, a lot shorter than Paul's, but it's a cross. So now he's got this long tunnel looking shot for his approach. Sends it down there, and he laced it. Slides right up near the basket. Beautiful approach from James. Paul with a tricky little stance here. Doesn't matter to him. He'll be putting first though. So Paul, huge putt here to keep his 1 shot lead over James. Buries it. Fist was up before it even went in. That's 5 birdies in a row for Paul. He's not letting James have an inch of room. So James, pretty close, but still needs to knock this down, obviously. Gonna take his sweet time. And it's in there. So, stage is set. Final hole, Paul still up by 1 stroke. And we'll be driving first on the par 4 18. Got to get it across the water again. Gets it out there. Across the water. And stays in bounds just barely. He knows that's what he needed. Huge drive. So here's James now. Pressure's on him. Needs to gain a stroke here. One way or another. Drive is up. And it hits the tree. Not out of bounds, but not where he needs to be to have a good approach to the basket for birdie on this hole, which bends to the right. So he is just going to have to lay up to this zone here, right before the corner. Paul now can play it easy. He's just going to pitch up to the corner. He just has to get a par because he knows James is in a very likely par position. You know, really the only thing James can do to even this thing up is throw it in from here. What are the chances? Gets it up there. Bang! Bang! Oh! And I'm sure everyone has seen that before. Look at him go. It's like a wild horse. Free range, wild horse out on the prairie. All-time moment. Just beautiful. So James gets the birdie he needed, somehow, miraculously. Meanwhile, Paul now still has to secure his par with a good upshot here, just to send this thing to a playoff. Gosh, what a great round this has been so far. James fell to 3 shots down and has clawed back miraculously to send it to a playoff as Paul puts this right up near the basket. Paul tapped that in to send it to the playoff, so here we are. First hole of the playoff is hole 16. James will be driving first. Sends it up at the mountains into the stratosphere and floats it down. Almost identical to his previous drive on hole 16. Great shot. Paul has now got a match. Needs to stick it on the island, give himself a putt. Swings it out wide. And comes in hot and trickles into the water. Tough break. A little off on the shot maybe, but regardless, James taps in his birdie putt to take home the 2021 Worlds. What a battle. Amazing stuff from both Paul McBeth and James Conrad. Great stuff. It was great watching this with you today. Oh, there goes the bottle. What a great battle. Congrats to James Conrad. Be seeing you guys later. Peace.